Hello everyone, this is Andrea and my vlog supporting David Cameron and our Conservative government. Yes, again, I have had another simply bloody awful weekend. I thought that fiasco at the NHS a couple of weeks ago was the worst that could possibly happen to us, but it turns out it isn't. Yes, I still haven't recovered. On Saturday, I went up to Kensington on my own, leaving Anna and Jenny with Charlie, to visit my sister Minter. And we thought that we would go and do some shopping in Covent Garden and perhaps go to the theatre later. Unfortunately, on the way, we were caught up on the Strand in some kind of mob. I can only describe it as that. Yes. Thousands of people, not hundreds, thousands of people. The strangest people I have ever seen in my life. It was bizarre. The most unusual collection of accents that I simply couldn't understand. Yes, never seen anything like it. It was appalling. And I think they were making their way to Parliament Square because I imagine they thought they were going to have some kind of personal interview with David Cameron. I can't imagine where they got that idea from. No. Yes, anyway, the thing that I found extremely disturbing were the sort of t-shirts and placards that people were holding. And I found it very disturbing, the sort of things that people were saying, and it made me realise that really, as I was suggesting the other week, that the franchise ought to be limited to intelligent people, because a lot of what they were saying was simply nonsense. So, for example, somebody was holding a placard which said, David Cameron is actually a robot made of ham. I mean, I've never heard such nonsense in my life. Do they not understand robotics? Now, Charlie's brother's in robotics, so we do know a little bit about it, and I can categorically say that the most useful robot that has been invented is something called a Roomba, which cleans your rooms for you. Yes. Well, it certainly isn't made of ham. I don't think you could make a robot of ham, really. Just trying to imagine it. Certainly not for room cleaning. And I can't imagine David Cameron doing any kind of cleaning whatsoever. That's just nonsense. It's a complete misunderstanding of robotics. Ham. Robot made of ham. Bizarre. Yes. And then somebody else was suggesting that we are governed, or that we should be governed, by dolphins. I don't know what to say. Do they not understand that dolphins live in the water and communicate using sonar? I just find it shocking. I find it shocking that people can even suggest these things. It's just appalling. And then somebody had written some kind of placard which said, take the orgasms from the rich and give them to me. Well, whoever wrote that simply doesn't understand the rich, because the rich don't have orgasms. I certainly know that I don't. And I'm just trying to imagine how that would possibly be practical. Yes, I don't even think I want to think about that, how that could possibly work. Yes, I shall move on to something else. Yes, somebody was asking if this enormous crowd of people was actually a queue for the food bank. You know, and I don't think we have enough food banks yet for that number of people. Although obviously food banks are increasing, so, you know, but I think there are about 500,000 people there. So, yes, I don't know what to say about that really, but they obviously didn't understand they were going to Parliament Square, and the Parliament Square is not a food bank. I think that's quite metaphorical, really, yes. And then somebody was saying something incomprehensible about Boris Johnson. They were suggesting that Boris has such enormous hair because he's keeping it full of lies and bigotry. Now, we are not living in the 18th century, and Boris does not wear a wig. I do understand that in the 18th century, people did keep all sorts of things in those rather large and cumbersome wigs. Yes, all sorts of billet-doux and things like that. But we certainly don't do that today. And I don't think that we're really living in the 18th century, are we? I mean, the 18th century is really about mercantile bankers and huge amounts of poverty and alcoholism. And so I don't think there's any comparison at all. So I can't imagine why somebody was comparing Boris to the sort of person who would hide things in their wig. It was the bizarrest Saturday that I have ever had, and I certainly don't want to repeat it. I hope there won't be any more of those mobs gathering in London in the future, and certainly not on the weekends when me and Minter want to go to Covent Garden. So I don't think I have anything else to say on that subject. I feel exhausted again. My week seemed to be getting worse, not better. I hope I shall have some more positive news to bring you next week. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.